three-bedroom wall.
Watch out, watch out, watch out!
Good afternoon and welcome to Orient live here at the Bro Group Stadium. I'm joined of course by Brendan, Pitcher and Glenn Wilkie, and the O's are back here in E10, and after only one loss so far this season, the O's are coming up against an Oldham side who find themselves in a little bit of turmoil with only one league win so far this season. And of course I'm delighted to be joined by Glenn and Brendan. So Brendan, first of all, we'll come on to the team news very shortly, but as I just said, one loss for the O's so far this season and one win for Oldham. On paper, you might come in looking that it's a slightly easy one, but what do you make of today's fixture?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do, because the one game kind of Orient have been expecting to win, the one against Harrogate, they lost, and it was easily the most poor performance they've put in this season. So it'll be interesting to see if they can kind of cope with that pressure of being favourites and live up to that favourites tag.
And Glenn, we'll come on to the team news shortly, but it looks as though Kenny's sticking with the same formation that earned the side a point in sunny Wales last week.
Yeah, same sort. It looks like the same formation as well. We're going to go with three at the back and the two wing backs. Clay and Pratley holding it up in the defensive midfield roles. Be interested. I thought last week in the first half we did well. We created chances. Smith was immense in that first half, and he was almost unplayable. We were just very, very unfortunate not to score 2 or 3 goals in that half, and then obviously conceded that late penalty in the first half. But same system. I think it'll be tough today. I think there's a lot of people expecting a 3-4-0 win for the O's today. I think it'll be tough. They've got a good manager in Keith Curl. They've, apart from the Barrow game where they lost 3-0, they've only lost by the odd goal in all their other games this season. So they'll come here. I don't expect them to come out all in attack. I think they'll just shut up shop. They'll be happy with a draw today, just to sort of stop the rot, so to speak. I think they'll just be very hard to break down, so it could be a tricky test.
It certainly will do, and there's of course been a lot of talk in the media about Oldham itself, and so we will be coming on to that shortly. But now let's take a full rundown of the O's side to face Oldham this afternoon. Of course, in goal is number 22, Lawrence Figueroa. At right back, number 2, Tom James. Over on the other side, at left back, number 3, Connor Wood. The one change this afternoon, replacing Shad Oji from last week's number 5, Dan Happy. In midfield, number 8, Craig Clay. And he's on fire so far this season. Number 9, Harry Smith. Theo Archibald, number 11, is also up there alongside him, with Alex Mitchell making his home debut this afternoon, number 15. Aaron Drinnan, of course, number 16, and skipper, number 18, Darren Pratley. And the third man in that trio of centre-backs, number 19, Omar Beckles. And on the subs bench for the O's, Reece Byrne, Dan Kemp, Tyrese Omotoye, Anthony Papadopoulos, Jaden Sweeney, and of course returning fresh from their Cyprus travels is Ruel Stiriou and Hector Kiprianou. So as we said there's just been the one change, Dan Happy coming in for Shadoji, who's unwell this afternoon. We know the quality of Dan Happy. I'm sure Kenny will be looking at that consistency with this side this afternoon, though. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it adds a bit of experience. Dan Happy's still young, but he's older than Shadoji, and it's interesting that he's stuck with a 3-5-2. I think Keith Curl is a manager that likes to play that kind of system as well, so I think he's trying to match him up there, and Oldham are going to be a big, direct, physical side from what I remember of Keith Curl's sides in the past, so it'll be interesting to see if Orient can match them, because we have got some big lads in there as well.
Of course, and you were in sunny Wales last Saturday, Brendan. What did you make of Alex Mitchell's debut?
I think he was good. I thought he's solid. I don't think he put much wrong, but I think he's a player there's more to come from, because everything I hear from Bromley fans who saw him last season, Millwall fans who saw him in pre-season, they think he's going to be a real top player, and we've pulled off a bit of a coup there to bring him in, so I think there's more to come from him, and I'll be interested to see how he does against a big physical side like Oldham today.
Yes, and we had the conversation last week, Glenn, about whether it was a 3 or a 5, maybe away it was more of a defensive 5. Do you expect, being at home, we might see a slightly more attacking 3 at the back with Connor Wood and Tom James bombing on a lot more?
I thought the first half last week it was a 3. and the two fullbacks were getting forward. Second half, because of Newport, the changes they made, they pushed us back and we became a 5, and then we had to defend because we was put under pressure. Today, like I say, I think Oldham, they're not going to have the ball for the majority of the time because, like you say, Keith Curle's sides, when he was at Northampton, they notoriously play a long ball game. They had Smith up front, didn't they, for him? So who's now on our side. So they play that long ball game, and the ball's not normally in play that much when they play. I think they had the worst stats for the ball being in play last season. So we know what to expect from Oldham today. They're going to be tough to beat. They're going to fight for everything, and if they don't, Keith Curle won't be having any of it. He'll be screaming from the sidelines. So it will be tough. I fully expect us to be pushing them wing backs on further forward to try and create. The only problem with that is if you are pushing them on too much, it takes away the space for the front three. So if they're bombing on too much and we're pushing them up and Oldham are sitting back, there's less space to play in and it becomes more difficult and more congested. So sometimes it's a bit easier to play and create chances if you don't bomb on as much and you just hold it a little bit, and it just creates space for our danger free.
And just sticking with the defence for a moment, Brendan, you said there about how direct we think Oldham will be. And with Dan Happy, Omar Beckles and Alex Mitchell, they are 3 big, strong lumps at the back. They'll need to be strong, especially we know some of the threats that Oldham will pose with Piergiani at the back. But also going forward, we've seen Beckles on the score sheet. I'm sure Happy and Mitchell both be wanting to get off the mark as well.
Yeah, I was looking through you have this impression about Keith Curle, like we've mentioned, that they're going to be a direct side, but I was looking through some of their stats and they haven't scored from a set piece yet so far this season, and that's something you'd expect the Keith Curle side to be good at. So in theory, you've got those 3 centre-backs, you've got Harry Smith, you've got Darren Prattley, you've got players who are going to be good at defending their own penalty area, and hopefully that's going to be enough to kind of not let Oldham get a set piece, get their first set piece to goal of the season today at Brisbane Road.
And mentioning Darren Prattley there, Brendan, it's obviously the same midfield 2 as last week. How do you feel that worked out? It's obviously quite light in midfield, but do you think it worked well for the O's?
I thought they did okay. I thought Clay will be disappointed, obviously, with the penalty. I think it was a silly challenge, but I think, like Glenn pointed out on the stream, I think that the sun might have been in his eyes or something. But it's a show of faith in Craig Clay because Hector's been pretty good this season, but it might just be a fact of he's been away on international duty. He might be a little bit leggy, and Kenny's preferring to stick with kind of his 2 tried and tested, experienced generals in there, in Clay and Prattley.
And do you think then, looking as you said there about the 2 goals we conceded last week, it's Prattley and Clay in the middle again, with the defence, with the slight change, and the way this game has been almost hyped up with everything surrounding it, do you think discipline will be a big part and keeping that composure across the pitch today and making sure we don't let anything slip?
The thing is, discipline's key in every single game, you know. You've got to be disciplined no matter how tired you are. And that's the thing, when you get tired, as the end of the half or the end of the game goes on and you're getting more and more tired, that's the time where you need to concentrate fully, and your discipline has to be spot on, because that's when you start conceding. You stop going, I can't, I'm too tired to run that extra 2 yards, and you do it 1 split second, you forget to do it, or you can't do it, and the other team get in and they punish you for it. That's the league we're in, you know. We do get punished, it seems to be. So discipline is key at all times of the game, but especially when you're getting tired.
Absolutely. And let's look at Orient's attack then, because it's will obviously play a key part. The main man, Harry Smith, 4 goals now so far this season. He wasn't even here for the start of it, really. He was immense last week, and he said, his words, he doesn't even feel as though he's fully firing yet. That's music to our ears, to Kenny's ears, to everyone's ears.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of those players where I'll admit when he signed, I wasn't like overly joyed. You look at his record and you think, is he going to be the right man to get the goals for us? And he's been fantastic so far, and it just shows kind of Kenny has a set way of playing, and these players he's recruited are here to play that way. And you look at what Harry Smith's done in his career before, and he's been playing, no disrespect, but like Macclesfield and Northampton were both struggling sides when he played for them, and so it's probably not a surprise that he never scored more than 10 goals for them. So in a team like Orient, who are expecting to be promoted to be one of the better sides, maybe it's him flourishing in kind of that position and that role.
And not only has he hit the ground running, but the 2 lads either side of him, Theo Archibald and Aaron Drennan. Aaron Drennan obviously only returning from a little knock last week, but he was in and amongst goals early doors, and Theo Archibald, they're dangerous.
I like Archibald. He gives you that he's like a winger, but he's playing a bit more narrower. I like him when we get him down the side, in between the fullback and the opposite centre half, and he gets down the side, and he's got such a great left foot, hasn't he? And he can stand the ball up, he can whip it in. He obviously can go and shoot as well, as he's scored this season already. But he's very exciting, and when he gets on the ball, you hear the crowd. He's almost one of them players that he gets people off their seat in the crowd, and that the expectation level goes up amongst the supporters whenever he gets the ball. So he's started really well. Let's hope today he has another blinder.
Hopefully he does indeed. And talking about expectation there's one man who expects a lot from everyone, and it's our main man, the manager, Kenny Jackett. We caught up with him ahead of the game. Let's hear his thoughts.
Well, Kenny, after the draw at Newport last week, it's now Oldham who visit E10. Firstly, to reflect on that Newport game, what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, a lot of good things. It was our best away performance. We had quite a lot of it, and I thought we were on top, at vital times, and getting ahead twice did show that we were doing quite well. They pegged us back, to be honest with you, and that's slightly frustrating. Even then, within the game, going in, at 1-1, where I thought we should have been ahead and been up, but they pegged us back twice. We're slightly frustrated with that and the circumstances of that, because they didn't create a lot or have a lot of shots at all. So, for 2 goals against, we're disappointed with that. But there's elements of the performance that I thought were very good. We did generally challenge them quite well, and in previous away games, Carlisle and Salford, the other side had been on top for long periods, and we battled it out. So different type of draw, definitely. Some encouraging signs, ones that we can build on. But anyway, now we come back at home, and if you get a point away, you want to follow up with a win at home. We're in a decent position in the league, and we're looking for some consistency now. If we can get it, it's been a little bit of a stop-start start to the season in terms of team selection. And sometimes that happens, but I have always had confidence in the side that we've put out. It's fallen quite well. We've had a balance, most of the time, one way or another, and that's been good. But I would like that to settle down with injuries, with COVID, obviously with international call-ups. Some of those things can't be helped, but some consistency now in terms of personnel will help, I think, us develop both home and away. Yeah, very much so, and every side. And if you're looking at, Keith Curl, he's excellent manager. Got a very good track record, different ways to play, and we'll always I think every club he's been at will do well, and Oldham will be no different. So for us anyway, we certainly respect the opposition, but it's our next game. We want to be on the front foot if we can. We want to be creating chances. We want to be going forward, and we want to be challenging the opposition, and whoever that happens to be, and whether it's a top side or a side that haven't started so well. It's a tight division anyway, and it's very, very much so in terms of performances. When you look at the games, anybody can beat anyone, but we're the side that want to build up that consistency, make sure first and foremost we're competitive and have a good goals against record, but then after that build on that base, go forward and create chances.
Great stuff there from Kenny, and now of course, as we told you last week, the O's, in partnership with the Orient Supporters Club, have started the Leyton Orient FC online lotto, and you can scan the QR code now to get involved and support the academy, because all the proceeds will be going straight to them. There will be, of course, the chance to win cash prizes of up to £250 and many more prizes, so make sure you do get yourself involved. The first draw is being announced tomorrow at 4 o'clock, so that's the deadline to get involved. So head over to that QR code or onto the App Store or Google Play Store and buy your lotto numbers now. But now let's take a look at Oldham instead. Obviously that's why we're all here, and let's take a run through their starting 11 that the O's will be facing today. In goal, number 1, Lutweiler. Number 2, Clark. Number 6, Piergiani. Number 7, XO, Nicky Adams. Number 9, Oldham needs this, it's Hope. Number 10, Kayla Dunn. Number 14, Phage. Number 15, Jameson. Number 18, Bowden. 22, Diarra. And 26, Batesh. And on the subs bench for Oldham this afternoon, Daniel Vicks, Kuto, Whelan, Vaughan, Dearnley, De Silva and Luamba. So, Glenn, as we've already discussed, it's only been the one league victory for them so far this season, Oldham. How do you think they'll be approaching this game with everything that's been happening off the pitch as well? Do you think that'll affect the team and their mindset going into the game?
It will. It will. It'll be in the back of their mind. They'll say it doesn't affect them, but I was at Leyton Orient when there was similar stuff going on many, many years ago, you know. So you'd lie if you said off-field stuff what's going on doesn't affect you. It does. It's in the back of your mind, especially if you're thinking you're not getting paid or who the new owners are and what's going on. It does affect you. But Keith Curl will try and put that to one side of his players. They'll want to bounce back from the 3-0 defeat at Barrow last week, and I think they'll be delighted with a point today. I think they'll probably play very defensive, be very difficult to break down, and say, right, come on, you've got to try and do something special to break us down, and they will look for that long ball, and they'll look for that outlet, and to get pushed up to the pitch at times, and like Brendan says, get set pieces. They've not been successful at them so far, but they've got the height in there to cause problems, and they may say, well, we'll get out the pitch, we'll get a set piece, let's try our luck and try and win the game that way. But I just think I'll be very, very surprised if it's an open football game and it'll be end-to-end, all action, pretty football. I just think they're just going to try and be horrible to play against. They'll just try every trick in the book, going down, just waste time, and they'll be delighted walking away from here with a point.
Hopefully the O's can do more to combat that. But their one win this season has been a smash and grab win against newly promoted Sutton. Does that say a lot about just how much they've fared this season?
Yeah, I think I echo everything Glenn said there. It's going to be Keith Cole's not going to be happy about conceding 3 goals at home to Barrow last weekend, and I think he's that type of manager. He's from the old school where clean sheet. Doesn't matter if they don't have any chances today. If they keep a clean sheet, it'll be a success. So it's going to be tough for Orient because they're going to have to break this team down. And we've seen so far Orient, like I mentioned, against Harrogate, when the pressure was on, when the expectation was there, rightly or wrongly, from the Orient fans that they need to go out and win this game, they struggled. So it'll be interesting to see how they cope with that today.
And as you touched on earlier, Glenn, the games they've lost has only been by a goal. They haven't been torn apart by a side. And they're a massive club, Oldham. I know it's early doors in the season, but if they were to go down, I think they'd be the first Premier League club to fall out of the top 4 flights. They're a big club. They haven't had a great start to the season, but still, we've got to be wary still.
Yeah, we have got to be wary. We have got to be wary, and we just can't get frustrated, and hopefully that if it stays 0-0 for a period of time, hopefully the crowd continue to support and don't get on their back, because it could be a real scrappy game. And I say get on their back, get on our back, on our players' back. So they've just got to be patient and wait. The best thing that can happen is we score an early goal. First 10 minutes, Oldham have to come at us then to try and salvage anything, which will create more space for us and our danger men up front. That would be absolutely perfect scenario for us, is that early goal or free would be even better, but an early goal first 10 minutes, it'll open the game up and Oldham have to try and come at us.
And who do you expect will be the danger men for Oldham this afternoon, Brendan? I
mean, maybe not necessarily a danger man, but I think they're a key player. I think we spoke last time when we had the Harrogate game about Josh Falkingham, a player who we battled against in the National League, and Cole Priagiani, who plays for Oldham now. He played for Salford in the National League. Is another one of those, and he's a real kind of old school centre back. Keith Curl would love him because he's massive, wins everything in the air, and him versus Harry Smith today could be really tasty because they're two people who are known for their aerial ability. And if an Oldham player is going to score from a set piece, you'd imagine it's going to be him. The one thing about him though, with being a big lad, is that he does lack a bit of mobility, and I think if you get Theo Archibald or Aaron Drinham running off him and making him run into the channels, making him chase, I think he could struggle there. But with the way I expect Keith Cole to sit up, I don't think they're going to be playing a high line. I think they're going to be sitting pretty deep, and that will suit Piergiani's game pretty well.
Absolutely. And I know you said that they haven't scored from a set piece so far this season. I think every Orient fan will remember that game against Salford here in the January of the Championship season. 2 goals for Piergiani on that day. We know how dangerous he can be in both boxes.
Yeah, that shows exactly what he's about. He's kind of good in both boxes. But you look at we mentioned earlier, the 3 centre backs we got out there today. They're all big lads, well over 6 foot plus, all really good in the air, and hopefully they'll have enough to combat Piergiani today.
Do you know what would be interesting? If we are defending a corner or a free kick, a wide free kick, who we have in our team who we say, you go and mark him.
Harry Smith.
Exactly, that's what I would say. I would say, do we go with one of the 3 centre-halves to say, go and mark him? Or do we go our tallest man who's great in the air and say, go and mark him?
I'd go Beckles. I think Beckles centre-back, the most experienced centre-back we've got. Probably, I know Harry Smith is probably the best header of the ball, but maybe not quite defensively. I'd be surprised if Beckles wasn't the one putting his hand up being, I'll be the one to mark him, because it shows kind of the leadership they'll have.
And we can't quite see the stand or the pitch out there at the moment, but we can hear it, and there's a lot of drumming which I think might be coming from the Oldham end. They're obviously going to be up for it. The O's fans have enjoyed a good start to the season. This atmosphere is really going to contribute to the spectacle today.
It will. Let's hope so. That they'll bring a few supporters down. Obviously, their supporters are disgusted with what's going on at their club, and we feel sorry for them, having been through it ourselves. Let's hope they support the clubs, their club in the right way. There's no pitch invasions. I don't think there is any planned for today like they had last week at home. I just think the more support out there, the more noise out there will lift our players. Hopefully it doesn't lift their players too much, but it gives us a real lift, and we get the job done.
Hopefully you're right there. Let's remind ourselves of the Orient side facing Oldham this afternoon. So in goal number 22, Lawrence Vigouroux. Number 2, Tom James. 3, Connor Wood. 5, Dan Happy. 8, Craig Clay. 9, goal scoring machine, Harry Smith. Number 11, Theo Archibald. Number 15, Alex Mitchell. 16, Aaron Drinnan. 18, and captain, Darren Pratley. Number 19, Omar Beckles. And on the subs bench, Reece Byrne, Dan Kemp, Tyrese Omotoye, Ant Papadopoulos, Ruel Sotiriou, Jaden Sweeney, and Hector Kyprianou. Now, just looking at that bench, there's a lot of youth on there, but a player of Dan Kemp's quality, he's been on the bench for the past few games now. He's someone that, if it is a scrappy game, if they are holding us back and if they are making it tough work for us, he's the kind of player with the quality, and also it now feels like he'll want to get out there and prove that he can contribute to this team.
Absolutely, it'll be his type of game. If half an hour, 20 minutes to go, we're drawing, we need someone to unlock the defence, Kemp is probably the best player in our squad that can do that. I think he's probably the best passer. He can find a bit of space, pick a pass, and hopefully it won't get to that point, but if we do need him off the bench, I think he'd be a very good option. Absolutely,
and Ruel Sotiriou and Hector Kyprianou both had a fantastic time over the Cyprus under-21s. Both scored in there, I think it was a 6-0 win. Yep. It's good to have them, two academy graduates. They've been in and around the squad for a long time. They add a bit of quality to the squad coming back in, don't they?
They do, and we look what Sotiriou did in the game before against Bradford. It was Bradford, wasn't it? I'm not imagining that. Yeah, but against Bradford, when he scores that goal from that tight angle, you know, he's got that X factor, you know, he's got that. With him as a defender, I'd hate to play against him because you've always got to expect the unexpected. He's not a traditional centre forward where you know he gets the ball, he's going to go that way or he's going to lay it off. You've got to be on your toes with him all the time, and like you say with Kemp, he could be thrown in and he's a danger man. Sotiriou, you throw him on, you don't know what you're going to get. I don't think his own players know what they pass him the ball, they don't know what he's going to do, you know. So he's one, and he's very, very excited when he gets the ball. And Hector, we know what Hector's all about. But I think this game has come just a bit too soon after their was it a holiday or international duty?
International duty, right. Glenn. But both Joe Gallen and Kenny Jackett spoke Joe spoke after the Newport game, and Kenny spoke midweek. About the importance of fluidity. We've seen a lot of formations this season, I think 3 or 4. Looking at the squad today, Brendan, and looking at the options on the bench, do you think that'll be a weapon of ours to be able to switch things up if we need to and really change the game?
Yeah, definitely. You'd say the 3 at the back is a slightly more defensive option, more than a 4, because you've got 5 defenders out there. So you don't think so, Glenn?
3 defenders, not 4. It's 3 defenders there. See, you're so negative.
But like we said, with Kempy, with Ruel, if it gets to 20 minutes, half an hour to go, and we're drawing and we need to unlock a defence, I think go into a 4, and I think we've played it already this season, we can switch around and move that formation comfortably and hopefully put a bit more pressure onto Oldham.
And what way do you actually see the game going then, Glenn? Because, you know, we can talk about it for ages, but last week we got pegged back twice. We played okay. We've had a mixed bag of performances, despite I know we've only lost 1 game. But a lot of performances have looked very different. How do you think it will go today?
I just think it's going to be a battle to start with. It really will. It will be a battle. They're just going to be uncompromising. We need to be on it from the first minute, because Keith Curl will get his players up for this game. There's good support here for both teams. I just think if there's no early goals, it could be something silly like a defensive error that opens it up and the game gets going from that. Hopefully it doesn't, and like I say, we get an early goal. But I just think it's going to. But from past games against Keith Curl's teams, they've always been hard fought, scrappy, old school, not football for the purist.
Well, anyone who follows you on Twitter would know you manage your own group of lads. So what would your message be if you were in the dressing room, if you were Kenny this afternoon? Bearing that in mind, what would be your message to the boys today?
My message to the players would be, let's push them back early. Let's push them right back. Let's get the ball up to Smith. Not at silly heights, with quality. Get the ball into his chest, getting the ball into his feet, and get Drinnan and Archibald playing off him, and try and get some early shots. Let's push them right back, and then it will cause them to go long, and we can pick the ball up and attack them again. Let's do that, but we need to not concede anything silly at all in the game, but especially not in the first 10-15 minutes. We don't want to be chasing the game.
Absolutely, and the O's need to capitalise on what is an apparent lack of confidence for Oldham.
Yeah, 100%. Like Glenn says, if we get an early goal, it could be any score. If Barrow can score 3 goals away from home against them. I spoke to Cisse, former Orient midfielder, now at Oldham in a week. Unfortunately, he's injured today, but I asked him first thing, how's Oldham going? And he said the fans aren't happy. That was his first response. So it's clear it's playing on their minds, and that's how the squad are feeling at the minute. So if we can get an early goal, we could be 4 or 5 easy.
I hope you're right, Brendan. And the teams are making their way out onto the pitch, but Glenn, you haven't got one right so far over the last 2 seasons.
Last week, my prediction was set pieces will be key, and there was 2 set pieces.
Well, what do you think the score will be then this afternoon, Glenn?
The score, I'm going for a 1-0 victory to Leyton Orient.
Well, there we have it from Mr. Wilkie. It's time to pass over to Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock, but make sure you join us back here in the studio at half-time. Come on, you O's!
And welcome to E10, where the sun is shining and hopes are high. Leyton Orient looking to make it back-to-back victories at the Blair Group Stadium, Brisbane Road, after, of course, a very impressive performance. And